Hello, general math students. Today we're going to do a relatively quick lesson on fractions, decimals, and percents. So right now you don't need your notebook, but you will eventually. I want you to think about for the next couple of minutes what you know about fractions. We just finished a unit on fractions. So just think about the things you know about fractions. Think about what you know about decimals and what you know about percents. So if we were doing this in class, we would take 10 minutes to discuss in our groups about the next 3 items, but we're not doing this unit or this lesson in class. You're doing it on your own. So I want you to kind of think about, see if you can think what you know about this. How do you change a decimal into a fraction? How about a decimal into a percent? Let's go on to question number 2. Kind of the same thing, only in different orders. What do you know about changing a percent into a fraction? How about a percent into a decimal? And then, of course, we have the last one. How do you change a fraction into a decimal? How about a fraction into a percent? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So again, next couple slides, you don't need to have anything written down. I want you to tell me what's wrong with this picture. I'll pause for about 10 seconds and you tell me what you think is wrong with the picture. Okay, if it is full on, it should add up to 100%, correct? Well, what's 66 plus 33? That is 99, so that would be 99%. It does not equal 100%. It is not full on. How about this picture? What's wrong with this picture? Kind of the same thing. If we're going to grade you, we want to give you 100% of the grade. Here we've got 40%, another 40%, and a 10%, which I believe adds up to 90. So we're still missing 10% of your grade. How about this one? This one's a little different. Again, all of it should equal 100%, and if you add these all together, you can even tell right away that it does not add up to 100%. How about this one? Same thing. It should add up to 100%, and if I added these all up, I'd get 15, 70, 80, 90, 100. We get 110, 115%. It's way more than 100%. Last one. Yeah, how can you have a 100% discount? If you did, everything would be free. That'd be awesome. I'd go shopping there all the time. Okay, take out your math notebook. Go to the next blank page. Label the page, fractions, decimals, and percents. Go ahead and pause the video until you have your notebook out, labeled, and ready to go. So we're going to talk about fractions, decimals, and percents. Fractions and decimals, we're pretty sure you know, but we're going to talk about a percent. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's do this. I want you in your notebook to label it percent. A type of part-to-whole ratio comparing any number to 100. And the other thing I want you to write down is we always say out of 100. So put that all in your notebook. Again, feel free to pause the video so that you have time to write it. So example number 1, this grid has 100 squares. If we shade in 50 of them out of the 100, that would be 50 out of 100, which would be 50%. Here we only shaded 30 of them, so that's 30 out of 100, which would be 30%. As a decimal, if we have 10 rows, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we would have 3 tenths. Up here we would have 5 tenths. So we're going to write 25% as a fraction. We're going to start with that one. 25% as a fraction. We already know, like what it said, is that a percent is out of 100. So we're going to write 25 out of 100. And then, of course, we're going to simplify it. 125 comes out, 4 25s come out. So there is our fraction. Now, let's do it as a decimal. We're going to use this 100. If we had a decimal, the places after it, this is the tenths, and this is the hundredths. And because we have it out of 100, we have 25 hundredths, tenths, hundredths. So we have 25 hundredths. That's why a lot of times when you hear me say a decimal, I say it the correct way. I don't say 0.25. I say 25 hundredths. It's the correct way of saying it. That way we know how many places we're using. Example 3, let's give some examples of equivalent fractions for 1/5. So we have 1/5. We can multiply by 2, get 2 tenths. We can multiply by 3, get 3 15ths. Heck, we could multiply by, let's multiply by 20, because 5 times 20 gives us 100. So 1 times 20 gives us 20. So if we change this now, this would be 20%, and 20 hundredths would be 20 hundredths, or 2 tenths, one of the same. We don't necessarily need that 0. But now, everything has been out of 100. Here, we only have 50 squares. We've cut the grid in half, and we only have 50 squares. They still shaded in 30 of them. So now it's 30 out of 50. And we can simplify that into a fraction. There's our fraction. What are we going to do to 50 to make 100? Because I want it out of 100. We're going to multiply it by 2. So 30 times 2 is 60. That would give us 60%. And again, 60 hundredths or 6 tenths, because we don't need that 0. So we found some equivalent fractions up here and we simplified it. Let's change the following fractions into percentages. Fractions into percentage. Remember, percent is out of 100. So what are we going to change the 5 to make it 100? We're going to multiply it by 20. So 2 times 20 is 40, which gives us 40%. Same thing here. I want it out of 100. 25 times 4 gives us 100. So 10 times 4 gives us 40, which is also 40%. Let's do it one more time. 20 times 5 gives us 100. So 4 times 5 gives us 20. So this is 20%. The next one is a little bit different. You still should figure it out. We're going to multiply it by 2.5. So 11 times 2.5 gives us 27.5. Hopefully I did my math right. You guys can double check it. That would give us 27.5 or 27.5%. Now, if I wanted to change it into a decimal, because we have the fraction, we have the percent, so let's change it into a decimal. Again, 40 hundredths, so 40 hundredths, take off the 0, it would be 4 tenths. This one, same thing, because it's the same number. 20%, if I had my decimal here, I could go back 2, and that would give us 2 tenths. Same thing, move it back. If I did it here, it would be the same thing, 4 tenths. Move it back here. Now I've got 3 numbers. So I'd have my decimal point plus a 2, 7, and a 5. 275 thousandths. Down at the bottom, example 6. We're going to talk about it, but then I'm going to have you pause the video and try doing it without my help. The table shows the batting averages of Aiden, Bob, and Dan during a baseball season, expressed as a fraction, a percent, and a decimal. You're going to fill in the missing information. So think about what we just did. I want you to change 3/10 into a percent and into a decimal. I want you to change for Bob 25 hundredths into a percent and into a fraction. And for Dan, I want you to figure out the 40% as a fraction and as a decimal. So go ahead, pause the video, and see if you can figure it out. Okay, Aiden, the fraction is 3/10. I'm going to multiply it by 10 to get 100, so it would be 30%. The decimal then would be 3/10. Bob, I'm going to put this over twice to get 25%. And that would be 25 over 100, but I want to simplify it, so I'm going to divide them both by 25, which gives me 1/4. 40%, again, sorry about that, moving it over twice, I would get 4/10. And again, if you say it correctly, 4/10, there's our fraction. Simplify it, divide by 2, top and bottom, I'd get 2/5, which would be our, sorry, I'm running out of room, which would be our fraction. So you're going to have practice doing this. Here is, whoops, nope, this was not the page I was expecting. Sorry, we're going to skip this page, not this page. Your homework, that's the page I meant to get to. In Schoology, the same assignment where this is attached, this video is attached, there is a conversion chart homework. It's a worksheet. I want you to put it into Notability, and I want you to fill it out. Basically, it has 3 columns, and I honestly don't remember what order they're in. They give you either the fraction, the decimal, or the percent, and I don't remember what order it's in. But they're going to give you one, and you have to fill out the other 2. So there's 3 sections. This one, and then there's this one, and then there's that one. So you can go and do that. That is your homework. It is due the next class, and I will see you then. Good luck.